Hello, this is Wmpyr. Here to talk about Defang the Snake once again. Right here, this is a picture from several years ago where I was training with Sensei Pedro. He was nice enough to come visit and cross train with me. If you're ever in the Houston area, I highly recommend working out with the guy. The guy is very knowledgeable and he's a very nice guy. So, defang the snake, the idea is you strike their arm, okay? You attack the attack. And if you are able to attack well enough, they may drop their weapon or you may render that arm useless so that they cannot attack you anymore. That is the whole idea of defang the snake. You remove the fangs from the snake, so to speak. And that makes sense, and it is a very important concept taught in Filipino martial arts. Now, I for many years now been able to test it out for myself, and when I do, what you're seeing here in the photo becomes reality. So the moment you go to attack their arm, you can see that their weapon is a little too close. There is always that risk. And that's just simple, like, it's simple logic, it's distance. I'm hitting them on the arm. So whatever sticks out past the area that I'm hitting is that much closer to me. And also, in real life, the opponent is going to be attacking you with explosiveness, determination, power. And when they do, I mean, you could see in the photo right here that I'm really bracing myself to block his arm, but there's still a little bit of give, okay? A couple of inches might be enough to cut me. So that risk is just not worth it, is what I'm saying. And that risk is very real. Every time you go for their arm, whatever hangs out past the area that you're cutting. Now I could have um, blocked his arm lower on his arm, and that would have been better. But sometimes you just don't get that luxury. So here I was fending off with everything I had, and believe me, if I could have gone lower, I would have. But I was worried about a lot of things, and this is what I ended up doing. Okay, so what I'm trying to tell you guys is that when you test out Defang the Snake, their weapon will get close to you. Okay, so what I want you guys to imagine is this: the same photo that you're looking at. Imagine if my weapon, which is a foam stick right here, if the foam was on the knife, how much further away would I be, and how much safer would I be because I'm going to be that much further away from his weapon. Can you guys understand what I'm trying to say there? Because the deeper and closer I get, the more his weapon gets closer to me. But if I'm blocking on the weapon directly, my body can move back that much more, making me safer. And if you do that, that is called a force-to-force block. I am blocking against the force. I'm blocking against their actual weapon. And when you look at Filipino martial arts, they don't call it force-to-force block, but 99% of the people, what they're doing is a force-to-force block without realizing what they're doing. So the only people that can see that are like people that they practice styles other than the Filipino martial arts, and they do sword stuff, and they look at us and they go, why are you going weapon to weapon? And that is essentially the force to force block. We do it all the time. For us, it's like, it's normal, right? So if you're doing the force to force block, to me, it is way more basic than Defang the Snake, and it is way more safer. So I recommend to do the force to force block instead of Defang the Snake. And I'm not against, that makes me sound like I am against Defang the Snake. No, I 100% believe in the effectiveness of Defang the Snake, and it's been taught for centuries for a reason. So I am 100% for it. I am not, uh, what I'm saying is, I am not for making Defang the Snake your main tool in a survival situation, in a self-defense situation where you're going to go, my first move, the moment he attacks, I'm going to defang the snake. And whatever he does, I'm just going to keep defanging the snake. That's my main. I don't agree with that. That's going to put you in a lot of danger, in my opinion. You're putting yourself in a lot of risk that is not necessary. So if you do the force to force block, and there's many ways to do the force to force block, like even what I'm doing here can be considered force to force block. But if you do the force to force block the way that I teach it, which is very, very, very elusive and defensive, where you are all about maintaining the distance, it becomes how far away can I get from the opponent. That, if you do it that way, then to me that is much more basic and way safer than Defang the Snake, and that should be your main. And for me, it is my main. And if I see the opportunity to defang the snake, I will. Believe it or not, I 100% will defang the snake all day long if I see the opportunity. But to make that my first move, to make that my main move, no, no. My main move needs to be something way more basic, way more safe. Therefore, the way that I do the force to force block is a much better choice in my opinion. Now that being said, I believe that there's many ways to climb the mountain. So there are people out there that will make Defang the Snake their main thing. And that's fine, but you cannot deny the things that I brought up in this video. That will be a factor regardless. So the people that are masters at Defang the Snake, they have solutions to that. But for the rest of the population, 90% that are practicing Defang the Snake, I'm bringing up a very real problem that you need to find a solution to. For me, my solution was to move away from Defang the Snake and go to the force to force block. Like I said, I didn't abandon Defang the Snake. If I see an opportunity, I will go for it. But from my understanding, when you defang the snake, and it doesn't take much for the other person to defang the snake, then we're both going to be defanging the snake, because people tend to mimic. If I punch you in the face, you're going to want to punch me in the face. If you kick me in the leg, I will naturally want to kick you back in the leg. People tend to mirror, people tend to mimic. So if you defang the snake, and unless you could take them out with that one move immediately, unless you can guarantee that, which you cannot, then you should expect they're going to start defanging the snake on you, and now you're going to be in a much more difficult, ugly match there. And that's, you're playing with your life. So that's why I recommend the force to force block. And to me, this is exactly why Defang the Snake is so misunderstood. You know, you're not gonna make your finishing move your main move where you're always using it like a jab. It doesn't make sense to me. The jab exists, the uppercut exists, the left hook exists, and so You got to divide your tools into what's more of a KO finishing move and what is not. And the force to force block is more like a jab where I could use it constantly and it's safe for me to do so. Whereas to Defang the Snake is more like a left hook or an uppercut that is designed to finish opponents. So anyway, that's it for now. Thank you for viewing and take care, folks.